Hi, I'm Shelley Jones. Welcome to Learning Math with Dr. Jones. Our Facebook group will post a daily math lesson Monday through Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time throughout the month of August. It says, find the area and perimeter. And it also goes on to say that each grid in the square is 1 square foot and the arc is a semicircle. So what does that mean? If I wanted to find the area and perimeter, I could probably just count all the squares. You can't see them here, but here are some squares. Each one of these I'm pointing at is a square. It's a square foot. And it tells me that each grid square is 1 square foot, which means if the square, each grid square is 1 square foot, that means as I find the length of each of these, this is a foot. So there's 6 of those, so that's 6 feet. And then there's 3 feet here, 3 feet there. So I'm very close to getting my perimeter. The only thing I need to know is this semicircle. I need to know that circumference. So first I need to find the circumference of the circle, and then I can just take half of that. It tells us that the radius is 3 feet. So the radius of the full circle is 3 feet. I find the circumference, I take half of that, and that's the perimeter or the circumference of my semicircle. All right, so first I'm gonna start with the area. So the first area I'm gonna find, I'm gonna break this up. I'm gonna decompose this. I don't know if you can see this, but here I have a 3 foot by 6 foot area. So 3 by 6 foot. So the area of my rectangle is 3 by 6, or 3 times 6, that's 18 square feet. Now the area of the semicircle, I don't know yet. So if you think about it, let's see, the circumference is equal to 2 pi r. I'm doing area. Sorry, circumference is down here. All right, so I don't need the circumference yet. All right, so I don't need the circumference yet. Here I just need the area. So the area is pi r squared, okay? So I'm jumping into the circumference because it was on my mind. But the area is pi r squared, and I have it written right here, pi r squared, and I have pi, and I have the radius is 3, so 3 squared. So basically 9 times pi, and then that is 28.27. So 9 times pi is 28.27, and I use my calculator to figure that out, but I only need half of that. I only need half of that. So this is the area of the whole circle. I take half of that, add it to 18, and I end up with 32.14 square feet. So when we're doing feet, we need to make sure that we have square feet because we're doing area. When we're doing area, we need square feet. Now I can come to the circumference. So to find the perimeter, I need to go on the outside. 3 feet plus 6 feet plus 3 feet. Or here I put 6 feet, 3 feet, 3 feet, and now I need the circumference. So now I have C equals 2 pi r. But even when I get that circumference, I have to take half of that. So I said half of my circumference. So that's what that half C is for. So my circumference is 2 times pi times the radius, and the radius is 3. Well, when I do that on my calculator, 2 times 3 is 6, and then I multiply that by pi. Well, pi is about 3.14, so 6 times 3.14 is 18.85. I use the pi button so that I get a more accurate answer. So it's 18.85 feet. So that's my circumference, but I need half of that, which is 9.42. So I have the 6 foot, the 3 foot, and the 3 foot that goes around the rectangle part. And then I have half of my circumference, which is 9.42. And when I add that together, I have 21.42, and that's the perimeter of the entire irregular shape. So, just keep things separated. In my head, I started talking about the circumference, so I wrote that. But first I did the area, And so I have the area here. And then I did the perimeter, and the perimeter was the one where I needed to use the circumference. Okay, one more question I'll do. Page 134, number 3. So on page 134, number 3, this is actually the one that a student asked me to do. It says each square represents 1 square foot. Find the area and the perimeter. Now this is the thing. I drew this based on what was in the book. So this is one of the exercises in the book. But the only thing it had on it was the triangle. So I needed to actually count to find the length. So I said, by counting the length of the base, I counted it. Because in each of these grid squares is 1 square, 1 square foot. That means each of these lengths is 1 foot. So 1 foot, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I counted to 13. So the base of that triangle was 13 feet. So you would be expected to actually count the length of the base. Same thing here. I drew this dotted line because in order to find the area of the triangle, I need 1/2 base times height, and the height has to be the perpendicular height of the triangle. And so I literally counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I kept counting and I got 10. So the height was 10 feet, and I did that by counting. So what the student was confused about was they thought they had to count all the squares. And in fact, you can do that to find the area. The only problem is you have only partial squares here. And so you can actually do that, but in order to use the formula, you needed to count the base was 13 feet and the height was 10. Okay, now, let's see, if I'm gonna do the area, I can do 1/2 base times height. The base is 13 and the height is 10. And so when I multiply, 1/2 of 10 is 5, and 5 times 13 is 65. So the area is 65 square feet, because I have 13 feet times 10 feet. So this is my symbol for my feet. 13 feet times 10 feet, take 1/2 of that. What I did was I took 1/2 of 10, that's 5. 5 times 13 is 65 square feet, because I have feet times feet, so I have square feet. Okay, so that's my area. That was pretty straightforward after I counted to find the base and the height. Let's see. Now I need to use the Pythagorean theorem to find the side lengths. Now this is my writing here in the book. It doesn't tell you that. So part of problem solving is you knowing that you need to use the Pythagorean theorem. Why do I use the Pythagorean theorem? Well, I need to find this. I know this is 13, but to find the perimeter of the triangle, I need all 3 side lengths. So I don't know this, and I don't know that. So that's why it started off with a question mark. But I know this is 10, and if I count, which I did, I know this is 2. So this is 2 feet by 10 feet, right? So the base is 2 feet, the height is 10 feet, and then this is my hypotenuse. So here I say c squared equals a squared plus b squared. I have 2 squared plus 10 squared, because here is my 2, here is my 10. Those are my 2 legs. This is my c. So I have 4 plus 100. 4 plus 100 is 104. So c squared equals 104. But if I take the square root of both sides, the square root of c squared is going to be c. So the square root of c squared is c, and the square root of 104, I did it on my calculator, and it's 10.198 feet. If I were to round that to the nearest tenth, I would have 10.2 feet. So this is just the C is the hypotenuse. So that's the leg. So for this, my hypotenuse is actually the length of one of the legs. So I'm thinking it through. I'm making sure, okay, I use my Pythagorean theorem, but once I find C, well, what is C? That's the length of one of the legs. Now I have to do the length of this leg. So now I have this triangle. And again, if this is my right angle, directly across from that or opposite that is my hypotenuse. So this is my C, my A, and my B. So here we go. C squared equals 11 squared plus 10 squared, A squared plus B squared, right? If this is 2, then this must be 11 because the whole thing was 13, or I can just count it. Count it right on the grid in the book. So I have 11 squared is 121, 10 squared is 100. I add those, I get 221. So c squared equals 221. If I take the square root of both sides, the square root of c squared is c, and the square root of 221 on my calculator is 14.87. So now that I have that, I don't think I actually found the perimeter. So now I actually need to find the perimeter. So the perimeter is 13 feet plus 10.2 feet plus 14.87 feet. It's hard to write on this board, and that's why I did this in advance. And then I can add those together to get my perimeter. And I'll just do that just to finish it off. So I have 13 plus 10.2 plus 14.87, and that's 38.07. So my perimeter equals 38.07 what? What is it? Feet.
Hi, I'm Dr. Shelley Jones. I'm excited to announce the 1-year anniversary of my best-selling book, Women Who Count, honoring African American women mathematicians. Meet me on Sunday, September 13th at 2 p.m. to celebrate Women Who Count, because representation matters. Stay tuned for a special panel discussion with mathematicians featured in the book, giveaways including a Katherine Johnson t-shirt, and activities from the book. Please register on Eventbrite for Women Who Count's 1-year celebration.